Muriel, Nina, Maggie, Crowley, and Aziraphale were all gathered around a table covered with ancient scrolls and various books. It had been 2 days since Muriel had been entrusted with the scrolls and successfully translated them. Yet, curiously, only one of these arcane documents appeared to be connected to the second coming in Indus. The atmosphere was tense, and the room buzzed with anticipation as they reviewed the once pristine translation, now marred by the odd notations and frantic scribbles offered by the group as they strove to decipher its hidden meaning. Aziraphale took a deep breath and looked at the others. "I believe it's abundantly clear," he continued, "that the Archangel Raphael must have played a significant role in these proceedings. He visited Indus, and the apparent summoning of his celestial might to unlock this key cannot be mere coincidence. Raphael possesses the knowledge of what they sought and how to employ it." He paused, his brows furrowing in deep thought. "But there's a problem. Raphael has been absent for millennia, wandering Earth in his human form. His whereabouts are unknown." "Yes," Muriel nodded in agreement, determined to not let the worrying revelation derail their conversation. "The section, a formidable healer, endowed by the heavens, must mean Raphael. And, as he told you he was going to Indus, it can't be anyone else." "Unfortunately, that much we already knew," Nina added with a hint of frustration in her voice. Leaning back in his chair, balancing it precariously on its 2 back legs and staring despondently at the ceiling, Crowley shared, "The details in there about the sky bleeding, seas boiling, seems to suggest that we're definitely looking at an attempt to bring about the second coming, and that this Indus place was the epicenter. According to the text, it was averted because the Indus people believed the second coming was against Shiva's wishes, so they reached out for Shiva's help." Crowley grinned wickedly. "I suppose they decided it would be rather daft to talk to your lot." He beamed at Aziraphale as he allowed gravity to pop the chair back onto all 4 legs. Aziraphale responded dryly, "Yes, thank you Crowley, for your insightful commentary." Crowley, undeterred, leaned forward with a mischievous glint in his eyes. "But why can't we ask for Shiva's help in this?" he inquired, a hint of genuine curiosity in his voice. Aziraphale arched an eyebrow, considering the question. "Well, my dear Crowley, it's not quite as simple as picking up the celestial phone and dialing Shiva's number. Interfering with another deity's domain can be a delicate matter. Besides, it's not like we have a direct line to every divine entity in a celestial directory." Sensing yet another impending episode of bickering, and rather keen on not allowing the demon to take center stage, Nina interjected, "We all agree that it's telling us about a previous second coming, and that Raphael was there." Her tone turned thoughtful, "But the scrolls also contain Shiva's advice, which states that to fully unleash the power of the key and protect Earth from the second coming, the people of Indus would need a celestial being on Earth to facilitate the flow of divine energy from the Earth to Shiva in the heavens." She looked around at the room. "Correct?" Aziraphale's countenance revealed a blend of surprise and admiration. "Yes, that does indeed appear to be an accurate summation." Nina pressed on, "But, it's after that point when it then states that Shiva knew about a celestial being in Ra who could help." She glanced around, capturing the rapt attention of her companions, who leaned in with anticipation. "It sounds to me that Shiva suggested Raphael only because he happened to be an angel on Earth, and thought Raphael would help them. So, Shiva was saying that an angel, any angel who was willing to help, would have been able to use the key." "That's a valid point, very valid indeed." Aziraphale pondered this revelation. "However, it could still be prudent to attempt to locate Raphael. After all, he possesses prior experience in this matter and might prove to be a valuable source of assistance." Muriel interjected. "He is also not just an angel. He's a very powerful archangel. We might need a higher order angel than ourselves to make it work. Shiva might have suggested Raphael because he is one of the most formidable of all angels." Muriel cast an apologetic glance toward Aziraphale. "I mean, Aziraphale was also in Ra at the time." Aziraphale nodded in agreement, his gentle gaze directed at Muriel with understanding. "Indeed, it would be wise to search for Raphael, he concurred. However, our quest for Raphael's guidance mustn't overshadow our need for this key. According to the scroll, it alludes that they crafted a divine device, a key imbued with godlike powers of strength and fertility, under Shiva's instructions. He let out a weary sigh, running a hand through his hair in frustration. But even in that pursuit, the search for an unspecified artifact, from a lost city, presents itself as an exceedingly formidable undertaking. We have no idea where to start. Maggie's eyes lit up as a memory ignited a spark within her cognizance. Wait a minute, she exclaimed. When we were searching for information about Indus, we read pages and pages of information about their religion, culture and everything. I remember reading that they revered bulls as a symbol of strength and fertility, and the scroll says powers of strength and fertility. Is it possible that what we're looking for is a bull? Crowley, hooking his feet back up on the desk and folding his arms in mock defiance, quipped, "Oh, splendid. So, we're simply in search of a bull figurine amidst the countless other bull figurines scattered across the earth. Can't be more than several thousand of those. Anyone have a spare millennia or so for a treasure hunt?" Shooting a reproachful look at Crowley, Aziraphale acknowledged, "That does bring us a step closer to a solution." "Well done, Maggie, your observation is indeed quite valuable." Nina rubbed her temples, her mind racing with a burgeoning idea. "You know," she began slowly, "when we were conducting research at the British Library, I do remember seeing a bull figurine among the artifacts related to Indus. It's possible, slim, but possible that this bull figurine could be the artifact." The room fell silent as her words lingered, suspended in the air. Each member of the group taking a moment to digest the weight of this revelation. The idea that the key might be hidden in plain sight, tucked away in a collection of historical relics, was nothing short of tantalizing. Muriel broke the silence with a spark of excitement. "That's a remarkable discovery, Nina. If that bull figurine is the key, it means we have a tangible lead." Excitement filled the room as they swiftly gathered around Nina and the computer. She scrolled through the British Museum's extensive archives on the Indus collections, sifting through 658 entries until she triumphantly displayed an entry featuring a bull figurine adorned with an etching of Shiva, strongly suggesting it was indeed the key they were searching for. Muriel, her eyes sparkling with amazement, couldn't help but bounce with unrestrained enthusiasm. "I can't believe we've actually found it." "Well, if it's imbued with divine powers, I dare say it might possess some protection and even likely hold some allure for humans as well." Aziraphale mused whilst looking over Nina's shoulder. "Oh, indeed," Crowley chimed in with a mischievous grin, his voice laced with glee. "The allure of temptation has wielded its influence over humanity for countless ages. A divine effigy would undoubtedly stoke the fires of human desire and ensure that it remained a coveted treasure." Ignoring the demon's quip, a habit she was growing accustomed to, Muriel straightened from the computer screen to address Aziraphale. "Do you think the museum would let us borrow that?" Muriel inquired, earning amused looks and exchanges of knowing glances amongst the group. Nina leaned toward the desk, her chin cradled despondently in her hand, her brows furrowing with concern. "I'm afraid borrowing such a valuable and historically significant item from the British Museum would be near impossible. You see," she continued gesturing towards the screen, "museums like the British Museum are incredibly protective of their collections. They'll have stringent protocols and ample security measures in place. Even Tom Cruise might find this one tricky." Nina sighed, glancing around at the others. "Getting our hands on this thing won't be easy. We might need to explore other," she shrugged solemnly, beseeching the others, "alternative avenues. It's not even on display in the museum by the looks of this." Maggie pointed at the screen. "I think that means it's in their archives. It also says they're in the process of building the display." She looked up from the screen, engaging Aziraphale's gaze with worry etched across her features. "Mr. Fell, I'm not sure how we're going to get it." "Don't you worry, Maggie," assured Aziraphale, "we'll think of something." "Fantastic," Crowley declared, his eyes glittering with a devilish spark. his enthusiasm erupting. "I believe a heist is in order." He rubbed his hands together, the sheer excitement radiating from him almost intoxicating. Attempting to steer the group towards a more sensible course of action, Aziraphale appealed, "Perhaps something a bit less dramatic, Crowley." "Some of the tour guides who visit my coffee shop work at the museum," Nina proposed. "I might be able to get hold of some security passes for us." Crowley's eyes sparkled with excitement as he extended his hands theatrically. "And so it begins." Aziraphale, surrendering to the necessity of the situation, aware that they needed all available assistance, conceded. "Very well, but we must proceed with utmost caution. Securing this artifact won't be a simple task. And we can't risk arousing any suspicions in hell." Crowley snorted. "Or any meddling from heaven." Aziraphale grudgingly agreed. "Yes, or heaven, for that matter." "Right then," Crowley flashed a sly grin as he leaned in, his words tinged with mischief. "I've got some time away from hell, and this isn't quite your cup of tea, Aziraphale. So, how about you pop back up to those pearly gates and let us handle this one?" Aziraphale looked around at the three alarmed faces. "Will you be okay with Crowley whilst I'm gone?" "Oh, come now." The demon scoffed, his voice dripping with mock indignation. "We're going to have a smashing time," he chortled mischievously. With a nod of agreement, Aziraphale left the bewildered assembly to make their plans. He made his way back to heaven, ready to resume his celestial duties, all the while hoping that his absence wouldn't lead to anything too smashing, or indeed apocalyptic, while he left his dear friend in charge. Crowley turned back to the stunned faces and declared, "Well, seems we're on our own now. Better get started." "Right," Muriel uttered apprehensively, "but where do we even start? It's not like any of us are seasoned diamond smugglers." Nina quipped sardonically, unable to hide her skepticism. Crowley leaned against a nearby table and looked at the group with an air of assurance. "This isn't a bank heist, you know. It should be fairly straightforward. We'll obviously need to keep the miracles to a minimum to avoid detection by either heaven or hell. So, it might need a bit of plotting. But subterfuge and precise planning are our friends here." Maggie, her worry still apparent, voiced her concerns. "But what if we get caught?" Crowley waved a dismissive hand. "Oh, don't worry about that," he replied confidently. "You lot won't be part of the heist. Only Aziraphale and I will actually be doing the stealing. We need you all to help with the planning, but Aziraphale would never forgive me if I put any of you in harm's way intentionally." "But we want to help," Muriel protested. Crowley grinned. "And you will help," he assured them, "with the plans. We need to bypass security and outwit the museum guards without resorting to miracles. Satan knows some of those security guards look like they could do with being put out of their misery." He paused, his disappointment evident, but Aziraphale would probably prefer a more discreet approach. Ignoring the horrified expressions on their faces, Crowley continued, "Nina, you can look into acquiring those convincing passes for us you mentioned to get us through the door, and Muriel, work on the floor plans to help us navigate through the museum and into their storage area. We'll also need to know precisely where the icon is being stored. That should give us a good start." As the days passed, Muriel and Crowley meticulously crafted their strategy. Muriel's acuity for navigating the heavenly archives, combined with her newfound expertise in computer systems, proved to be an invaluable asset. She deftly accessed the information networks, extracting floor plans, security codes, and personnel schedules for the British Museum. In a series of short and discreet visits, punctuated by Crowley's need to maintain his hellish facade, they devised a plan that would bypass the security and take advantage of the museum's intricacies, each step meticulously designed to keep both heaven and hell in the dark about their activities. Meanwhile, Nina leveraged her connections at the coffee shop to secure forged passes and work uniforms that they would need to infiltrate the museum as valid staff, allowing them to slip invisibly amidst the employees and visitors. With their preparations complete, the stage was set.